Good afternoon again. This time I think we're ready to bring this show on the road. I'd like to invite everyone to please stand whilst we open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here today safely to the first debate of round 2 of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. Father, we ask that you bless us this afternoon and you allow the proceedings to go along in a fair and equitable way, to allow our students to engage in very healthy debate and to allow everyone present to enjoy the experience that is being put on here this afternoon. Father, we ask for your guidance, your overall blessings as you always give, and we ask you to touch each and every one of us here this afternoon. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, please be seated. So my name is Miss Trudy Christian. I am the organizer of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. Myself as the main organizer, as well as members of a committee that assists me. And this afternoon, we are very pleased to be in round 2 of the competition. This afternoon, I am not moderating the debate, so I will just introduce and then hand over to our moderator for this afternoon's debate, and she will give all the good details, such as the schools participating, the judges who will be judging this afternoon's debate, and all the other good stuff. She'll also give the results. So she has the good job this afternoon. So welcome once again, everyone. Welcome to our in-person audience here, and of course to the listeners on DBS Radio and DNO, Dominica News Online. Thank you for joining us. I do hope that you stay on to look at this afternoon's debate. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the moderator for this afternoon's debate, Ms. Indira Seja. And as I said, she will guide you through the proceedings. Ms. Seja, I welcome you to the podium.
All right, thank you, Trudy. Good afternoon, everyone. As Trudy has said, my name is Indira Seja, and I'm, just by way of introduction, I'm an attorney at law. I've been an attorney at law for the past 15 years. I'm also an adjunct lecturer at the Dominica State College. All right, I would like to welcome each and every one of you here again, and to say that we're pleased to have you here. Our debaters from both schools, the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy and the St. Mary's Academy, as well as your prep team, your teachers, your coaches, and all those who worked with you to bring you here today. We also want to welcome all our students who are here in support of your colleagues, the other teachers who may not have been part of the prep team but who are here to show their support. We want to welcome our parents, generally all our supporters, our esteemed judges, as well as the coordinators and the point persons who are involved in coordinating and organizing this debate. To our organizer, our main organizer, Ms. Trudy Christian, and as well we want to welcome the media. I understand that we have Dominica News Online, DNO, as well as DBS here with us, and we would just like to thank them for their presence here. First, let me begin by introducing our topic for this afternoon. And the topic for discussion or for debate here this afternoon is, there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very, very anxious to hear the arguments, because that is a topic I myself have engaged in private debate over, especially over the last couple of years. And so I'll just repeat, there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Proposing this topic is the St. Mary's Academy, and the Arthur Waldron SD Academy are our opposing team for that topic today. Before I introduce the speakers from both sides, I would like to introduce our judges who have volunteered their time and are very capable in their respective positions and professions. And I forgot to ask them who is the chief judge for this afternoon. So can you just, okay. So I'll begin for our chief judge for this afternoon, and her name is Marie-Ange Emmanuel. All right, Marie-Ange is a past debater who was a member of the winning team of the inaugural Windward Island debating competition. She holds a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Nottingham, and she currently works as a statistician at the Central Statistics Office in Dominica. And if you don't mind, just give me 1 second to put on my glasses. I'm new to the wearing of the glasses, so I still think I can see without them. That's so much better. All right, so Marie-Ange will be our chief judge for this afternoon, and she will also be the one delivering the judge's remarks or judge's critic after the, before we announce the winning team. We also have with us Mrs. Andra Christian. Mrs. Christian is a retired secondary school principal. After 46 years in the field of education, she has worked with the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme and adventure clubs. She enjoys sightseeing, sharing information on Dominica, and working with young people. Welcome, Mrs. Christian. Welcome, Ms. Emmanuel. Yes, thank you very much. Let us applaud our judges. I'm a judge. I usually judge. This is my first time doing the moderator position, so I can tell you as a judge, although it's an honor, you know, usually we take time off, and we enjoy it. Anyway, we're not complaining. Our third judge is Mrs. Antonia Yankee. Mrs. Yankee works with the Ministry of Education as the guidance counselor for the North District, working with schools from Corleyho to Marigot. She's also the founder and manager of a home for the elderly located in Salisbury. Welcome, Mrs. Yankee, and thank you again, judges, for giving up your time. All right, at this time, I will announce our debaters. On my thing says I should go through the rules, but I'll do that right before we begin the debate, okay, so that nobody forgets them. Right now, I'll take the time to introduce our students from the debating teams, and I'll also ask them to come up on the stage as I introduce you. All right, so we'll begin with the speakers from the proposing team, that is the St. Mary's Academy. And our first speaker is Mr. Noah Sorrendo. Noah is a fourth form student of the St. Mary's Academy. Noah indicated that he is currently studying sciences, all three, chemistry, physics, and biology, and that he does not know what he wants to be when he grows up right now, but he has a keen interest in computer science. Welcome, Noah. Our second speaker from the St. Mary's Academy is Mr. Jelani Shillingford, who is also a fourth former of the St. Mary's Academy, and he's studying science subjects and business. I think he said POB, Principles of Business. And he wants to be, when he grows up, he wants to be an aeronautical engineer. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds very impressive. And he also wants to be a pilot, okay? So welcome, let's welcome Jelani Shillingford. Okay. The speakers on the opposing side of the debate, as I said, hail from the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy. And today our first speaker here with us is Miss Malia Bertrand. She's a third former. I was quite impressed. I thought the debaters were usually from fourth and fifth form, but we have our two third formers here with us. Okay, and she is a sciences and technical drawing student. And she aspires to be an interior designer when she grows up. So welcome, Malia. Our second speaker for the opposing team from the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy is Rowan Thomas. Mr. Thomas is a third form student as well, and he's also a technical drawing student and a physics student at the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy. And he's not sure what he wants to be when he grows up, but he says maybe a doctor. All right, and I made sure I told him I would emphasize maybe so that his mother doesn't hold him to it, okay? All right, so again, these are our debaters, our proposing team is from the St. Mary's Academy, and our opposing team from the Sir Arthur Waldron SD Academy. And just to reiterate, the topic this afternoon is there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Okay? Now I get to the rules, and I'm sure many of you here are familiar with them, especially our teachers and our judges and so on, but I will reiterate briefly what the rules are. Okay, so the procedure for the debate, we will begin with the proposing team, of course, and the proposing team leader shall make, in this case, his case for a maximum of 10 minutes. The leader of the opposition shall then make his case for a maximum of, my bad. The leader of the proposing team, all right, shall make his case for a maximum of 10 minutes. Following that, we'll have the leader of the opposition team, who shall also make her case for a maximum of 10 minutes. They will then be followed by the second speakers, first of the proposing team, and he shall make his case for a maximum of 7 minutes. And then the second speaker of the opposing team shall make his case for a maximum of 7 minutes. We will then allow a maximum of 5 minutes for the teams to prepare their rebuttal. During that time, I will ask that we maintain silence, that we do not speak too loudly, that our telephones are on silent, that if you're like me and you have any alarms for reminders, that you turn those off, all right? Following the 5 minutes preparation, each team will be called upon to give their rebuttal. The speaker for the proposing team will go first and will have a maximum of 3 minutes for the rebuttal. And this will then be followed by the speaker of the opposing team, who will have also a maximum of 3 minutes for the rebuttal. In terms of timing today, I will be assisted by one of the members of the DSC Debating and Literary Club, and her name is Bijou. So Bijou has 2 signs. Bijou is sitting right over here, and she has 2 signs that she will hold up at the relevant time. For each speaker, when you have only 1 minute left on the clock, Bijou will indicate so by putting this sign up. All right, 1 minute. After that minute is up and your time is up, she will then put up this next sign which says time is up. Okay. Following the rebuttals, the judges will be escorted to a secure venue for the deliberations and tallying of their scores. Normally, this should not last for more than 15 minutes, all right? At that time, we will ask our team members, or speakers, to return and rejoin their schoolmates and their teachers down in the general audience. As moderator, part of my duty during the deliberation of the judges is to lead a discussion on the topic. I will advise you that during that time, we are simply asking for your opinion on the topic, not for a critique of the performance of the debaters. That is very important. So please keep that in mind. All right, so we will do that until the debaters return, the judges return with the overall scores and with the results. At that point, I will call on the chief judge to give a brief and very constructive critique or remarks about the debater. So the chief judge is the only one who can give the critique on the debater's performance, not the audience, please. All right, and following the chief judge's critique or remarks, then as moderator, I'll read out the results in terms of the winning team, and then we will have the prize given at the end, okay? I hope that was clear for everybody. And without further ado, because we are on the clock, let me just once more reiterate the topic for debate this afternoon. And the topic is, there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Proposing this topic is the St. Mary's Academy, and the team comprises of Noah Sorrendo and Jelani Shillingford. Opposing the topic is the Arthur Waldron SD Academy, and the team comprises of speakers Malia Bertrand and Rowan Thomas. Okay, and at this point, we would like to call on the first speaker of the proposing team, that is the St. Mary's Academy, Mr. Noah Sorrendo, to come up to the podium to give his arguments.
A little bit. That's good. That should be fine. Thank you. I can start. Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents, my colleague, good afternoon. Audience members, good afternoon to you too. This afternoon, we are here to debate the moot. There should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examination Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in a single sitting. My colleague and I are here this afternoon in support of the moot. Before we delve into the crux of the matter, let us define a few key terms. Firstly, what is the Caribbean Examination Council? According to CSEC.org, the definition reads in part, it is a council that was established in 1972 under agreement by the participating governments in the Caribbean community. CSEC assures the global human resource competitiveness of the Caribbean through the provision of syllabuses of the highest quality, valid and reliable examinations, and certificates of international repute for students of all ages, abilities, and interests. Secondly, the Oxford Learners Dictionary.com defines limit as the greatest or smallest amount of something that is allowed. Thirdly, one sitting, as defined by dictionary.cambridge.com, is one limited period of time. My worthy opponents, on August 25th, 2023, the Guyana Chronicle reported that Alex Muntaz secured 23 grade 1s and 4 grade 2s in the CSEC exams. In Antigua, the Observer newspaper reported Adrian Judnarine secured 26 subjects of 19 1s and 7 2s. And in Dominica, on September 14th, 2023, Dominica News Online reported that Mindy Leblanc secured 13 grade 1s, 5 grade 2s, and 1 grade 3. My worthy opponents, thousands of students in the Caribbean take the CSEC exams each year, each of whom are permitted to take as many subjects as he or she pleases in a single sitting. Every year, we read of the students who have excelled at it, but we do not hear of those who have attempted and failed and its impact on them, and even the impact of the preparation process on those who have succeeded. My worthy opponents, while this academic freedom may seem liberating at first to students, especially those who opt to do them, for many others may have been coerced to do so, its effects could be long-lasting and could perilously pave the way to major health issues and impede their holistic development. My worthy opponents, I hope once my colleague and I have presented our argument, you will agree that there are possible detrimental effects, even if not immediate, associated with writing an excessive number of subjects in one sitting at the CSEC examinations. My worthy opponents, I am certain in your research of the topic, you came across an article in the Guyana Chronicle, Sleepless Nights, Strict Study Routine Led to Outstanding CSEC Results. Sleepless nights, my worthy opponents. Have any of you ever experienced a night or two of no sleep, and yet must try to function optimally the next day? How did that feel? Think of the number of sleepless nights that would be necessary to prepare to write exams for 19 subjects, as Mindy did, or 27, as in the case of Alex Muntaz. On the website of the United States National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, there is an article entitled Brain Basics, Understanding Sleep. Sleep, it states, affects almost every type of tissue and system in the body, from the brain, heart, and lungs, to metabolism, immune function, mood, and disease resistance. In a May 2014 article in The Guardian entitled, What Happens to Your Body If You Study All Night?, Susan Redline, a professor of sleep medicine in Boston, found links between sleep deprivation and the onset of neuropsychiatric disorders such as anxiety and depression. Over time, forcing the body to stay awake also affects blood pressure and levels of inflammation, resulting in an increased susceptibility to heart disease and cancer. According to Professor Redline, these are but the long-term effects. That same article shares that there are immediate consequences to a lack of sleep, and that recent research at Harvard and Berkeley revealed a very dangerous side effect of pulling an all-nighter: short-term euphoria, stimulated by a chemical called dopamine, which may allow the student a boost in motivation and positivity. This might sound good, but these feelings are brief, as this same dopamine also encourages addiction and impulsive behavior. This high experienced by students could be sought over and over again as they progress in academia and other areas of their lives, jeopardizing their well-being and future in the process. My worthy opponents, stress leading to eventual burnout is another possible consequence of preparing to write exams in 15 or 27 subjects. Consider, my worthy opponents, how much work students must do to ace 15 or 27 subjects. These students will be constantly preoccupied with work, day and night, bringing about stress and possibly burnout. According to the Canadian Red Cross Association, stress has a psychological impact that can manifest as irritability or aggression, a feeling of loss of control, insomnia, fatigue or exhaustion, sadness or tears, concentration or memory problems, or more. The Oxford Dictionary defines burnout as the state of being extremely tired or sick, either physically or mentally, because you have worked too hard. If CXC's mandate is to prepare a competitive human resource, as they state on their website, should it not take steps to protect the mental and physical health of the students who take their exams? My worthy opponents, you might suggest that many of these students who are successful at 15, 20, or even 27 subjects knew they were able to handle the workload and associated stress. Are we sure, however, that all of the students who attempt many subjects are doing so on their own volition? Staff writer for the Guyana Chronicle addresses this in a letter to the editor entitled, Why Write So Many Subjects at CSEC, in the August 2016 issue. One of the areas she addresses is the social pressure to do so. What if students of low abilities are being pressured to do so for self-serving reasons? She addresses the school-sanctioned lessons industry present in many islands. What if teachers are not honest about students' abilities, merely because they have already counted their extra income for the month? In the writer's words, the benefit to the teacher comes with the students being privately rewarded for often very rewarding hourly fees. Then there is parent coercion. There are a few reasons why a parent may force their child into doing more subjects than they can handle. Many successful parents often want their children to walk in their shoes. There are also those who failed as students and want to experience success through their child. Another motivating factor may be competition with other parents. Some parents want their child to be more successful and achieve more than another parent's child. And all of this can lead to parental pressure and its many negative effects. The Bay Atlantic University in Washington explains the effects of parental pressure as follows. As a student, your child will constantly look to you for your validation. Even a slightly disappointed expression can send them into a bad mental state. They will start questioning their capabilities, slowly leading to fear, anxiety, and other mental illnesses. My worthy opponents, it is impossible for CXC to tell when incapable students are being forced into taking excessive subjects by demanding parents or predatory teachers. It is therefore necessary for CSEC to limit the number of subjects that students can take. Otherwise, such students may never realize the level of success that attempting fewer could have brought them. My worthy opponents, do we really want our students to have to live with the long-term effects of such stressful situations? Do we really want to quell their desire for learning and passion for acquiring knowledge? Do we really want them to lose the joy of the pursuit of excellence? And even if the desire for education still burns within them, do we really want our future leaders and business people to be impeded mentally by the lasting implications of childhood stress? I believe I know your answers to these questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Let's have a round of applause for Noah again, please. Thank you. Okay, so Noah took a total of 9 minutes and 48 seconds for his delivery. I have an announcement. A black vehicle, PX, I don't have the number, but a PX is blocking the business entrance and exit. Anybody drives a black vehicle, PX something? Nobody in here? Oh. Is it 176? Yes. Can you give somebody the keys to move it for you? All right, let us continue. So we now call to the podium the first speaker of our opposing team from the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, Miss Malia Bertrand. Please come up to the podium. Let's welcome her.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my most worthy opponents and supporters, my esteemed colleague, good afternoon. Many groups of students sit in CSEC examination rooms across the Caribbean from May to June. One group attempts 5 to 7 subjects, another up to 12 subjects, another up to 27, and perhaps the smallest group, less than 5. Each group had a chance to choose. Each had the ability and opportunity to select the number of subjects they needed, could afford, and excel at, based on their varied academic abilities and professional goals. Some pushed themselves to achieve their full academic potential by doing 27 subjects. Others did the same with only 7 to 10 subjects. And a few did what they could handle. Just a few. No limits, equal opportunity, and freedom to choose. Therefore, today my colleague and I stand resolute in our opposition to the moot that there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Permit me to define the key terms. According to the Oxford Dictionary, limit is to set bounds, to restrict, or to prohibit. CSEC.org describes the Caribbean Examinations Council as the premier provider of globally competitive curriculum development services, examinations, certification, and education services. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines attempt as to make an effort, to do, to accomplish, solve, or effect. And finally, one sitting refers to one examination period. Our restated moot reads that there should not be restrictions or bounds set by CSEC on the number of subjects a student can do in one examination period. As the first speaker, I will be expounding on the following point. Students, their parents, and the teachers should set their own limits on the number of subjects they attempt. My colleague will be presenting on the point. Forcing a timeline and limits on subjects students can do decreases their academic, professional, and social versatility. Students, their parents, and the teachers should set their own limits. The Caribbean Examination Council prides itself on the delivery of valid and reliable examinations. Thus, equal opportunity through the availability of 33 subjects without any limits on the number that students can attempt in one sitting is an expected feature. CSEC.org states, and I quote, CSEC assures the global human resource competitiveness of the Caribbean through the provision of syllabuses of the highest quality, valid and reliable examinations and certificates of international repute for students of all ages, abilities, and interests. End quote. So my question to you, my most worthy opponents, is, if this examining body decides to set limits to the number of subjects students can attempt in one sitting, wouldn't it be going against this objective? Would CSEC be catering to all abilities and interests? The request for limits on the number of subjects students can do usually comes from the side of those who probably do not desire to pursue as many subjects, who seem concerned about the mental state of the students, and possibly those who failed at their attempts to do as many. By all means, choose and attempt less. But consider the students who are naturally gifted, have put in the work, and have the desire to sit as many subjects as they are interested in one sitting. Don't these students deserve the opportunity to do so? Don't they fit the category described by the Examination Council as all abilities and interests? Are you saying, my most worthy opponents, that we should only cater to some abilities and interests? Should we box students in by not taking their abilities and interests into consideration? Madam Moderator, honorable judges, today we are not arguing that there should be no limits. We are, however, saying that the examining body, CSEC, should not be the one to set these limits. There is no reason for an examination council to place bars on the freedom and potential of students. This is because there are institutions, procedures, and persons in place to ensure that students register for only what they are capable of doing and can afford. At my school, the Arthur Waldron Seventh-day Adventist Academy, each Form 5 student is given a form with the list of subjects that the school offers. The student has to first consult with his parents, sometimes a counselor, then ask each teacher for permission through the means of a signature before he can register for the subject he desires. The teacher makes this decision based on the student's ability, work ethic, and grades in that particular subject. My most worthy opponent, in your school, SMA, the process is similar. So you see, my friends, there are limits, but these limits are set by institutions that know the students best. Despite this measure, you may still find some students who feel like they can handle more subjects, registering privately to do so. They, along with their parents, are free to make that choice. Our very own Dominican scholars, Daniel Bacchus, Mindy Libla, Ebony John Jules, all did extremely well and were all free to attempt any number of subjects according to his or her ability. Honorable judges, this call for limits is not new. Kayeta News of Guyana reports in 2014 that CSEC, along with the Guyana government, had no desire to place limits on the number of subjects students could attempt. The then CSEC registrar, Dr. Didacus Jules, states, and I quote, "While I am aware of calls being made to limit the number of subjects candidates attempt at CSEC examination, we don't consider it to be a matter under CSEC's purview. This is a matter for the parents, the schools, and ultimately the ministry. However, our view on it is that you should not put a limit on people's capacity. Whatever subject you feel you can do, you ought to be allowed to do." End quote. Need I say more? A few years later, in 2017, the Ministry of Education in the same country, Guyana, set limits on the number of subjects that students from specified school zones can attempt. However, this permission was granted based on students' academic performance in the grade 9 assessment exams. Even that was met with opposition, since some felt that the gifted students were boxed in and would not have the opportunities to get much-needed scholarships. While this attempt did not work, the government was free to attempt to set its limits on its citizens. In Dominica, while we have no government law dictating how many subjects we can do, schools are free to set their own limits. How many subjects is your school allowed to do? So you see, there are institutions who have the liberty to set limits for us. Honorable judges, we live in an age where people are free to live their lives as whatever gender they choose and to change their appearance to whatever animal or fictional character they choose. We simply have to say we are something, and we are that. We live limitless lives. Yet, this is still the same age when we are now asking that an examination council that caters to the entire Caribbean to set limits to the number of subjects students can do. What about the students who identify as gifted and intelligent and can juggle and attempt multiple subjects in one sitting? Shouldn't they have the freedom to do so? My most worthy opponents, when you go into KFC, does the company give a limit to the number of sides you are allowed to purchase at one time? No. What limits you? Usually your health goals, taste, finances, and appetite. Let us apply that to CSEC. The examining council offers 33 subjects. You can do any number that you please, one or even all 33. What limits you? Your interests, finances, goals, and the number you can handle. Just as it is not the duty of KFC to tell you how much you can eat or buy, the same applies to the CSEC examining body. That power lies with you, the customer. Again, let me make myself abundantly clear. CSEC should not set limits on the number of CSEC subjects students can attempt in one sitting because it is not their business to do so. They do not know students' individual goals, interests, and abilities. We can set our own limits. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Malia Bertrand of the Arthur Waldron SD Academy. Thank you, Malia. Let's give her another round of applause. Malia's time for her deliberation was 10 minutes and 23 seconds. We will now call upon, actually before I call on the second speakers, I think I omitted to mention in the debate procedures that each team is allowed, each team, although the leaders are each allowed 10 minutes. However, if they go above, I think, an extra minute, past the allotted 10 minutes, 5 points are deducted from the general points. So just to, I think the team planners and so on, teachers are aware of that, but just to let the general audience know that 5 points are deducted for any speaker that goes over the time limit. All right, I now call on to the podium the second speaker of our proposing team. To reiterate, our topic today is that there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Our proposing team is the St. Mary's Academy. We already heard from our first speaker, Mr. Noah Sorrendo. Our opposing team is the Arthur Waldron SD Academy, and we already heard from the first speaker. We just heard from our first speaker, Malia Bertrand. I now call to the podium the second speaker of the proposing team from the St. Mary's Academy, and that is Mr. Jelani Shillingford. Mr. Shillingford.
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents, audience members, good afternoon. My colleague has presented the possible detrimental effects of preparing to write an excessive number of CSEC subjects in one sitting on the mental health of those who do so willingly or through coercion. I will convince you of its negative impact on the holistic development of the child. My worthy opponents, how many subjects does one require to gain access to college, university, or even to get a job in the public or private sector? When completing a college or university application, are the questions solely focused on the academic prowess of the applicants? When interviewing for a job, how many of the questions focus on the academic prowess of the interviewee? Why then should students sacrifice nights of sleep, afternoons, and weekends of extra classes to write exams in 15, 23, or even 27 subjects when he or she can focus on a small number of subjects and use the time available to develop him or herself holistically? A young Jamaican woman, Marian Carter, recently expressed in a post on LinkedIn entitled, "Failing an exam does not make you a failure," that one does not need to pass 14 CSEC subjects or get 10 distinctions in CAPE to fulfill his or her life's purpose and add value to the world. She continued by expressing regret with having spent most of her time studying as opposed to studying and enjoying herself as a student. She ended with the words, "This is not an attack on the education system. It's merely some constructive criticism." This is just one individual's regrets, and while there will be many who will not support or even dismiss her, there will be many who share her sentiment. Many may have regrets about not getting involved in the life of their school or community. My worthy opponents, the use of time is an important factor in this discussion, as some of the time spent preparing to write 23 and 27 subjects can be used to develop a student holistically. According to the ITM group of educational institutions based in India, firstly, holistic development helps to nurture a student's overall growth and development. It provides students with the skills and knowledge they need to succeed in life, such as emotional intelligence, social skills, and physical fitness. Secondly, holistic development helps to reduce stress and anxiety in students. Students are better equipped to manage stress and anxiety and lead a healthy and balanced life by focusing on their overall growth and development. Are you aware, my worthy opponents, that when determining which students to accept, many universities look not only at academics, but also other notable achievements or extracurricular activities? Are you aware that if forced to choose between two similar students, both with high academic merit, but one with numerous sports or other achievements on record, it is more probable that the university will pick the one with the additional achievements? A look at the application criteria web pages of many schools will reveal extracurricular activities as a factor that goes into the process of accepting students. Limiting the number of students or subjects that a student can do in one CSEC sitting will allow more time for students to partake in extracurricular activities like sports, the arts, choir, debates, and so much more. Activities like these make students strong contenders for scholarships and jobs in the future. Many students and even parents, however, are often not aware of the importance of extracurricular activities and so choose to focus on academics. This is why it is important for CXC to limit the number of subjects that a student may take in one sitting in order to help highlight the gravity of freeing up time for extracurricular activities and contributing to their holistic development. My worthy opponents, what kinds of activities promote holistic development in students? We'll proffer that classroom activities do. Yes, there are co-curricular activities that do promote holistic development. For example, many of the group-based SBA assignments do, but this is still academic related. According to the International Journal of Management, Technology, and Social Sciences, co-curricular activities such as projects, SBAs, internships, presentations, role play, help students develop critical thinking, creativity, collaborative and communicative skills, emotional intelligence, ethics, cross-cultural skills, etc. But extracurricular activities such as cultural events, forum events, sports events, literary festivals, club activities, etc., help students develop life skills, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, social skills, project management, in addition to all the skills mentioned before. My worthy opponents, CSEC states that its mandate is to assure the global human resource competitiveness of the Caribbean, and so it must take into consideration the whole students and place a limit on the number of subjects a student can attempt in one sitting to encourage students to fill their time with activities to develop the whole person and in doing ensure the global competitiveness of our people. My worthy opponents, I offer to you that there is a need for change in the offerings to our students. Some of the students who write 10, 15, 23, and even 27 subjects are often capable, and yes, it does increase their knowledge in many subjects, but why should only a few students, because of their mental aptitude, financial capability, and ability to withstand sleepless nights, be the only ones to obtain a broad knowledge in many subjects? It is time for us to rethink the 5-year or 2-year focus on a few or many subjects to write exams in, and offer all our students in the Caribbean opportunities to choose different courses every term to broaden their minds. Let us operate on a level playing field, give all students the opportunity to gain knowledge in many subjects, and at the same time, the opportunity to enjoy mental stability and develop holistically. Thank you.
Thank you, Jelani. Jelani's time was 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Let's give him a round of applause. We will now call on the second speaker from the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy to deliver his arguments, Ruan Thomas.
Madam Moderator, judges, my worthy opponents, my esteemed colleague, good afternoon. I stand with my colleague in opposition to the moot that there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. My colleague has already established, honorable judges, that placing a limit is not the duty of the Examination Council, but it rests in the hands of the student and those involved in their life. I will further support this position by declaring that forcing a timeline and limits on subjects students can do limits their academic ability and professional and social versatility. Madam Moderator, my opponents would have you believe that the proposed limitation to not do all subjects in one sitting helps the student. They claim it decreases stress and helps them to focus and excel. What they don't tell you is that it deprives them of a chance at a national scholarship and delays or extends the stress of doing CSEC. What if the student does not want to delay his or her life or forfeit recognition for his efforts if he or she does not have to? Guyana is known for its exemplary achievements in CSEC. It is also known that some scholars depend on the scholarships that will be awarded to them when they excel so they can pursue their dreams. Many of the scholars from that country come from Region 2, which is known as a farming and fishing region with many indigenous communities. Alex Muntaz, the CSEC scholar for 2023, who attained 27 passes in one sitting, was awarded a government scholarship to pursue his degree in bioengineering at a university in the States. While his parents are employed, their income as a small store owner and trucker would not have made this dream possible. A normal scholarship, however, would only be able to cover a fraction of his tuition. Hence, placing an overarching limit on the number of subjects Alex could have attempted would have limited his dreams, and the same can be applied to every student who is in that same situation year after year. According to Kaito News, Alex knew his goals, worked towards it, and shared that balance was important towards his accomplishments. Madam Moderator, I wish to remind my worthy opponents that CXC does not know us. It does not know our goals, needs, or abilities. Hence, the limits they would impose may not be in our best interest. Some students are academically capable, just like our very own Mindy Libla. In an article by Dominica News Online, her mom described her as a focused go-getter child who managed her time well to ensure that she got adequate sleep and still had the time to study effectively. Mindy, who aspires to become an environmental engineer, has been an overachiever since a very young age and secured the 6th position on the island during the grade 6 national assessment in her year. Why ask these students to delay their lives and their plans to stagger the exams when they can excel at them? You see, my worthy opponents, while some students can zero in on one passion or field of study before they enter or leave high school, some students are interested in a variety of fields and grasp the opportunity to study and attempt a variety of exams in one sitting. Thankfully, CXC does not limit these students, but rather caters to their interests and abilities, while also allowing those who want to do less subjects to do so. Are you saying that they should not have that liberty? My most worthy opponents, I am sure you are intelligent, and I know by now you agree with us when we say that a limit on the number of subjects that can be attempted does not solve the issues of burnout, lack of focus, and failure, since students who do way fewer subjects are similarly affected. It does, however, place the high achievers, go-getters, and naturally gifted students in a box while catering to one group of students. This goes blatantly against the objective of the CXC. Oh wait, do we now propose that this objective changes as well? Sadly, many of our classrooms cater to average learners, and it's no surprise that this request for limits caters to these types of learners. CXC, however, caters to all types of learners, and the availability of choice provides the challenge that the gifted learners need. In an article written by Stephen Merrill and Sarah Gonza in edutopia.org, they shared, I quote, "By centering choice, educators signal openness to negotiating the middle ground and offer students scaffolded opportunities to practice decision-making, explore their academic identity, and connect their learning to interests and passions," end quote. Still don't believe me? In an article written by doctors Amy Griff and Jenny Richot from the University of Northern Colorado, and I quote, "Providing cognitively and intellectually appropriate challenge and structured choice to gifted students increases motivation, engagement, and sense of empowerment," end quote. You see, my most worthy opponents, CXC aims to cater to all types of learners and their interests, and the lack of limits facilitates those learners who need to be challenged so they can be motivated, engaged, and empowered. In a survey conducted among secondary school and college students here in Dominica, 58% of the sample indicated that CXC should not set a limit on the number of subjects students can attempt in one sitting. Some of the reasons for this include, I quote, "Students may feel that they want to do more subjects to increase their level of known skills, which may also help them in their career field. Students may do all subjects in one sitting so they can move on to their next goal. Students should not be given limits, but they should set them themselves," end quote. I wish to remind you that the world we now live in offers opportunities for multiple careers, multiple streams of income, and limitless opportunities to express ourselves. The access to 33 subject areas caters to this world and its needs. Instead of setting limits to the number of subjects students can do in one sitting, why not ask students to choose their subjects based on their abilities and resources? Taking a diverse range of subjects can positively impact students by fostering critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and a broader understanding of various fields. It allows for holistic development and helps students discover their interests and strengths. We need to embrace this liberty and avoid trying to fix what is not broken. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowan Thomas. Rowan's time was 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Let's give him a round of applause. He did very well as well. Okay. We now are going to allow the debaters 5 minutes to prepare for the rebuttal stage of the debating competition. During that time, again, we would ask everyone to please be as quiet as you can. If you have any cell phones that are on, can you kindly put them on silent? If you have any alarms set, because even if your phone is on silent, the alarm may go off. Please turn off all alarms so that they have that peace and quiet time so that they can work together for the rebuttal. Thank you very much. All right, we are about to embark on the rebuttal segment of the debate. However, before we do so, we know that for the debate competition to take place, there are many people involved, and one of the important people involved in the organization of the debate are our sponsors. And so just before I call on the speakers for the rebuttal segment, I would like to give mention to the sponsors for the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. And I'm just going to list them. We have Domlec, Lindomart, Fine Foods Inc., KFC, National Cooperative Credit Union, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, Q95 Radio, DBS Radio, UE Global Campus, Freeman Consulting Group LLC, Dominica News Online, Vibian TV, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited, Lovely Things, Finance Focus, Alliance Française de la Dominique, The Watering Can, Dr. Joshua Lloyd and Mrs. Carincia Joseph Lloyd, Vive Eye Care, Crazy Carrot, and Jordan Jerome Photography. We also have some partners who have come along and come on board with the organizers of the debate, and would like to make special mention of them: the Ministry of Education, Human Resources, Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, Dominica State College Literary and Debating Society, and Exquisite Events and Rentals. So these are our sponsors and our partners. Let's give a round of applause for them. Without them, this debate would not be possible. All right, at this time, I would like to call upon the speaker who will be delivering the rebuttal for the proposing team, that is the St. Mary's Academy. But before that, let me just highlight the debate topic once more. There should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. To deliver the rebuttal for the proposing team, we have Mr. Noah Sorrendo.
My worthy opponents, who are very capable, made the argument that limiting the number of CSEC subjects that a student can take would limit their freedom to choose and freedom of will. According to Article 1 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, a child can be defined as anyone up to the age of 18. This means that all of the students taking the exams are still children. Why do you believe that so many countries, like ours in the Caribbean, have laws in place preventing children from making important decisions like voting and opening a bank account? Have these governing bodies that enacted them not put countless hours and possibly years and a lot of thought into creating them? This is because they have realized that children are often not experienced enough to make these important decisions. And while it is true, my worthy opponents, that CSEC students are growing. My worthy opponents made the comparison to essentially CXC limiting the number of subjects that a student can take at CSEC to KFC limiting the number of sides or orders that you can make. However, this comparison has no place in this debate. When you decide how many sides or wings to order in KFC, does this decision have the potential to alter your future and shift your education career drastically? In fact, maybe it can be used as a comparison, because eating too many KFC meals can cause detrimental effects to your health, just like taking too many subjects. My opponents also said that by limiting the number of CXC subjects that a student can take, you may deprive them of a chance of a national scholarship. Doing well in an excessive number of subjects is not the only way to gain a scholarship, and a good one, in fact. By using the time you would have saved if CXC limited the number of subjects that you could take, you could engage in regular extracurricular activities like sports. This too may ensure you a scholarship to study where you please without worrying about money. Otherwise, you may have to deal with the health costs of taking large numbers of subjects. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. We'll now call upon the speaker, number 1 of the opposing team, Arthur Waldron SD Academy, to deliver the rebuttal, Ms. Malia Bertrand.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my most worthy opponents, once again, good afternoon. Allow me to reiterate our position in this debate. Honorable judges, students, their parents, and the teachers should set their own limits on the number of subjects they attempt. Forcing a timeline and limits on the subjects students can do decreases their academic, professional, and social versatility. I know in my opponent's speech, they suggested that stress leading to burnout is an outcome of CSEC examination. However, I would like to remind you that Alex Montaz, who successfully did 27 subjects, reminded us that a balanced life, consisting of managing between subjects and extracurriculars, decreases the chances of stress and burnout. Stress and burnout also happen not only among students who do one subject, but also among those who do 4, 5, 7, and 10. Yes, even 27, as mentioned in our speech. Also, while my opponents argue that students may struggle to balance their time as well as Mindy, I would like to, our position is that the students who can manage their time perfectly, as we mentioned, will be boxed in and delay their lives. And finally, my most worthy opponents, you mentioned that students do not need to do many CSEC subjects in one sitting. However, to achieve a full education. However, I would like to remind you of Alex Montaz, who came from a poor family. His mother a shop owner, and his father a truck driver, who would not be able to achieve his dream of going to the States with 27. Because of the 27 passes, he achieved his dream of going to the States. Just to reiterate, we stand firm in our opposition to the moot that there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examination Council on the number of CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Thank you.
Okay, that was Miss Malia Bertrand. Let's give her another round of applause. Her time was 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and I omitted to give the time for Noah. Noah's time was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. All right, let us give all our debaters a big, big round of applause. All right, you guys did very well. I would not like to be a judge this afternoon. The competition seemed to be very, very tight. Now we will ask one of our coordinators to escort the judges to a private room. I think that was already secured. Are you staying? Oh yeah, yes. There's a room secured for you, so you will take the time that you need to deliberate and tally up your scores. All right, I ask the debaters, you can rejoin your schoolmates down in the general audience. I will just call the names of the debaters again. We have on the proposing team, from the St. Mary's Academy, Mr. Noah Sorrendo, first speaker, and second speaker, Mr. Jelani Shillingford. Our opposing team, we have the Arthur Waldron Academy, and we have our first speaker, who was Miss Malia Bertrand, and our second speaker, Mr. Ruan Thomas. Let's give them a big round of applause once more. Okay, and to make up for the error earlier of not mentioning our sponsors, I want to big them up again right now before we enter into the discussion of the debate. And our sponsors for the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition are Domlec, Lindomart, Fine Foods Inc., KFC, National Cooperative Credit Union, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, Q95 Radio, DBS Radio, UE Global Campus, Freeman Consulting Group LLC, Dominica News Online, Vibian TV, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited, Lovely Things, Finance Focus, Alliance Forces de la Dominique, The Watering Can, Dr. Joshua Lloyd and Mrs. Carincia Joseph Lloyd, Vive Eye Care, I knew I was going to say that at some point, Crazy Carrot, Jordan Jerome Photography, and our partners who are working with the debating organizing team as well are the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, Dominica State College Literary and Debating Society, and Exquisite Events and Rentals. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you very much to our sponsors, without whom this would not be possible. All right, and during this time, as the moderator, I am tasked with the duty of engaging the audience so that you guys are not too bored while the judges deliberate. And so I know that you are sitting there and you're listening to the debaters and you have your own views, your own opinion on the topic. Now is your time to shine. But we'll ask again that you do so without critiquing or remarking on the performance of the debaters. That is for the judges, but you can give your opinion or your comment on the topic. And so I'll read the topic again. It says, there should be a limit set by the Caribbean Examinations Council on how many CSEC subjects a student can attempt in one sitting. Before I take any opinions, can I ask the students here a question? So we have third formers, we have some fourth formers, I assume, and fifth formers. I would like, by a show of hands, to see how many of you intend on doing, or at least even if you have not, it hasn't been approved as yet, but you intend on attempting or sitting more than 10 CSEC subjects when your time comes. Show of hands. Jelani, why are you afraid to put your hand up? You want to be an aeronautical something. That sounds like it needs plenty CSEC for you to make it. All right, so okay, so let me just take the young lady in the back. I don't remember your name. I know you're a debater from last year. Just tell me your name, please, again. Yes. Yes, I remember you from last year. How many subjects do you intend on sitting, Kenisha? 12. Okay, not too bad. I mean, in my time, I did 7. And that was plenty. I mean, I thought I was in things. But then when I saw, what's his name, Montaz, with the 27, you know. So let me hear your views then, students. Yes, let's start with Kenisha. We have a mic. Do we have a mic for them? No, we have an extra mic? No? Just try to project your voice as much as possible. Yes. First of all, are you for or against the... Do you want to come up here? Sure, come up. Why not? Oh, you know this Kenisha coming up with her book, she has her thing well prepared. She's a past debater, so she knows that this segment was coming up.
I prepared this before we got here. Now, although excluding the part that my team is on the opposition, I personally oppose. This is because I believe that we are in a free age. We are allowed to do whatever we please. As she said, we just have to say we are something, and we are that. So, my first point was that when we put limits on students, putting limits on the CXE, the amount of CSEC subjects we can attempt, it contradicts plans and goals of the students. So let's say you decided you wanted to do 8 to 10 subjects, and they put a limit that you are only allowed to do 5. It puts stress on you because now you have to figure out which one you're going to exclude, which one you're going to do, which one's most important at the moment. So it would contradict your plans and goals, and it will force you to have to change your course of action. My second point was that doing multiple subjects puts students at an advantage. This is because, well, in my opinion, if you do, let's say, 8 subjects, and you are bad at one subject, you can outweigh that one bad grade with, let's say, about 7 better grades. And the last point, the third point, as my mother always tells me, burnout, stress, and anxiety comes from the views and expectations of others, procrastination, students' brain capacity, students' ability, and lack of time management. I personally have bad time management. I know that. And I procrastinate a lot. And I know from experience that doing your assignments last minute puts stress on you. I've done it, and trust me, it wasn't good. When I do my assignments last minute, I often get a lower grade than what I would have taken the time to do when they had just given it to me. It puts a lot of anxiety and pressure on you because you're thinking that I have to do this, this is due now, I need to do it now, and I have to finish it. And you are nowhere near starting it. It puts a lot of anxiety on you. So it's not per se the amount of subjects that you decide to do. It's about how well you can handle it. And thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Kanisha. Kanisha, I like the way she came up here and delivered her 3 points, right? And I actually had in mind doing something similar, that we could conduct like a mini debate within the debate. But then before we get to that, so I was going to call on somebody who wants to come and rebut Kanisha's points, or if they have their own points in opposition to what Kanisha has said. But I saw a parent, you had your hand up, Damien? No? Okay, I thought I saw a parent with their hand up. I just wanted to give him a chance to say what he had to say. So now, you heard Kanisha's 3 points, right? The first one is that students should not be limited because they already have their goals and their plans, and then if you come and set a limit, you put in a spoke in their wheel. I don't quite remember the second one, but the third one was that it's not the number of subjects, it's your time management. It's all these other factors that can lead to this burnout we're talking about. Is there? Exactly. Number 2 was that, if you do a variety is the spice of life. So meaning if you do many subjects, you fail at a few, you have many more to kind of cover up the ones that you fail at or that you do not do as well at. Is there anybody who wants to come up here and challenge Kanisha? Or if you have your own point you want to make, then that's fine. Mommy, you're making the children, or do you? The kids, they're so brave. You don't want to come up here? Okay, well, you can stay down there. That's fine. We're not going to force you. If we cannot hear you, then you have to come up to the mic. Right. Okay, I have a point to make to your point, but I don't want to take the mic. So far we have 2 people who are in opposition of the debate topic. Everybody, all you're afraid to propose, man. I want to hear somebody who's in support of CSEC giving us a limit. Anybody wants to take the debate on that? Anybody believes that? So basically everybody here opposes the topic? Nobody supports that? Okay, so just to make, anybody wants to comment or has their opinion, their own opinion, whether it's in opposition or in support of? Yes, miss. Yes. High school, yes.
And I was to university. I was to science. The very first years, when you just enter university, I found myself repeating what I had learned before. And so I would have done that science years, that's what you're specializing.
Right.
So it could be something. It doesn't mean that you can't go in that direction when you get there. I had students who studied science there. I don't know my students studied in applied, and he was one of our best science students in the world at CSEC. And he said, "You wish I would not Wall Street." And I said, "Science is not for me." So
Right.
he started a business.
Right.
Because you were here for 4 years, you have to just 2 years to ground yourself in whatever, and then you find it.
Okay. So, Miss, I would like to thank you for that point, because that's the point I had to miss point over there. Right? That university is usually the place where you start to figure out what you want to do. And the university, they're well organized. What they do, they allow you to do prerequisites before you actually go into the substantive part of your studies. And let me just take myself for example. I did accounting and principles of business in high school. I did that in college. And then I went to study law. I mean, that only became useful when I got to law school and we had to do one small, elective in accounting, So I'm not saying that your point is not valid, but I think it was well rebutted here to say that, university is a time where, that is where they really get to grow up and decide what they want to do. Let me hear our miss from Arthur Waldron. Oh, you put up your hand for her?
This is what was speaking. I remember when I went to school.
I think he wants to.
So I remember when I started university, I started doing mathematics, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. But when I registered for mathematics, I needed to do chemistry, and I had to do prerequisites for chemistry. So just proposing, although I oppose in here, I strongly believe a limit shouldn't be set. But for the purpose of pushing the point of proposing, I believe that when they go to university and they have the options now, like after I did my 8 subjects, I realized, I didn't do chemistry. I can now do the prerequisite and get through to doing what I needed to do. So there is the option of the prerequisites. So my boy, if you don't know what you want to do, and when you reach university and you don't have the subject, you're going to do the prerequisites for it.
Thank you very, very, very much. Or if you want to, or gentleman from DBS insists that you guys should come. Okay, so I agree. About the optics.
One of the elements or parts of the moot that I zoned in on when I saw it was who should set the limits. We have to remember that CSEC caters to everybody. It says all ages. So somebody might be wanting to do CSEC not because they want to go to university. Probably it's a job requirement. So they don't have the time to do a prerequisite at their job. So they would need to do CSEC. That's one point. The other point is, as a governing body that caters to so many people, it is very hard to set limits that would enable everybody. So we should set limits by all means. There should be limits, but I don't think it's the place of CSEC to set it. So yes, limits are good, and I agree with the young man. Limits are good, but who should set the limits? Should SMA set limits for Arthur Waldron as the academy? It's not their business to do so. So I think that is part of the mood that we should pay attention to. Who is setting the limits? I thank you.
I thank you. She thinks she's going up for Queen Shoe. All right, so that's a very, very valid point, and I think it was raised that so there was an alternative given that limits should be set, but it should be the school who should set it, or together with the parents and the teachers. But do you think, based on the agenda that was hinted at by parents who want to relive their childhood days, and by schools who are looking for the not their credit score, but the CSEC scores, right? Do you think that is a fair way for us to set, that they should be the ones in charge of setting limits? Or I understand the arguments against CSEC, because CSEC is a body that's out there, doesn't know the nuances of the various islands, the various schools, far less for the individuals. But do you believe, though, that the alternative is that the parents should be the ones, together with the teachers and the school, to set it? Anybody has any view on that? Yes. Students, you all are very quiet. I want to hear from you. We're hearing from the adults, but we're not hearing from you. This is something that affects you because you're the ones that are going to be doing the exam. So after Miss speaks, I want to hear from at least 2 students. Okay?
I know, for instance, of teachers who have tried to encourage students to do more than what they are capable because they're looking at the school records and they want the school to have this record that they've set students in to do so many results. And I know some parents who say, well, my child doesn't need it. He's doing 10 and no more. Why should he do more? Because even if he has a plan to go to university, the parent already knows that that's not necessary. I also want to look at the point we made, holistic development. I prep students every year for boarding school exams. And we have students who perform very, very well, all the way up on the exams. They have nothing else. They don't get the scholarships. They don't have anything else to their credit. No sports, no debating, no literary society, nothing else. All they have are these academics. I went to school with a young lady who was top. She applied to all the Ivy League schools for law, and she didn't get in because all she had was the academics. You have to do more to sell yourself more because you need to be able to manage your time. We talk about time management. If you're only focused on how are you managing your time, that's why when parents come to me at school and they say to me, my child should pass because he has nothing else to do, I say to them, you've not taught him to work. You've not taught him to manage his time. So how do you expect him to do well? So we have to teach them to manage their time. And extracurricular helps them.
Very valid points. That is something I actually endorse, especially like I know when students are going to the common entrance, I know a lot of parents who pull their students out of activities. I always found that to be quite absurd because the extracurricular actually helps them mentally. So if you're doing some kind of sport, it helps you to burn out that excess, that anxiety, that excess energy, negative energy that you have. So that's a very good point. And then we know, I mean, you all look at TV. You all watch all these teen movies where the students are applying to university and then they have to go for an interview and they will start with all their credentials and then the interviewer will just be like, okay, I've heard this, you have, you're very good, you have A's, but can you tell me what extracurricular, what activity have you been involved in at your school? And most of them are stumped. They have nothing, okay? So I want to hear from our students now. I see, yes, well, should I really call on you? Where you were in the debating team. I want to hear some, sorry, I don't want to, plug you, but can we hear from somebody else, please? Yes, another SMA student. If we have time, we'll get back to you. Okay, no, I don't feel no way, all right?
So my opinion is, when I went through my own interviews, they kind of looked for something like a family, something that contributes to their community, something that they can relate to. And when you put your children through this process, they're going to ask, okay, is he involved in school life? Adding to Ms. Fulgen's point, what can you contribute, basically, to the school? And if you can't pull this through, you won't get the scholarships, you won't get the opportunities that you want for your child. And also, through this, you can also just see like every parent just for themselves, for their own child, not really contributing to a central figure, a community, something to grow and to foster the newer generation. And I feel like that's really important in the long run. Thank you.
Excellent point. I couldn't have said it any better. Somebody from Arthur Waldron, let me hear your views. We have two ladies in yellow, 3 in yellow. One is hiding behind. The one who's hiding, can you come up here and give us a little, you have something to say, or you, yes, your hand on your lip. Come on, don't be shy. I know you'll have a lot to say, or you can talk. So come up here, let's hear what you have to say.
Good afternoon, everyone. What I have learned so far is that I still have a lot of time. I have 4 more years to go till CSEC. But is that I want to know the type of grades that I want to get. And if you only choose a certain set of numbers for you to continue with, how will you know that you will get the grade you're supposed to get, that you grade you want to get? Let's say they give you a time limit for 5 subjects. And also the 5 subjects, you get 2 ones and 2 threes. But you wanted to do another subject, but you only had that specific area for that amount of subjects. You want to be able to get into a good college, a good university. How will you choose those grades? Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Anybody else? All valid points. Remember, there's no correct answer to this. There's no right answer. So don't think because you're for one side or the other that it's wrong or right. It's pretty much a subjective argument, although some very good, valid points were raised on either side. That's why I say I would not like to be a judge right now this afternoon. That you see they're taking more than 15 minutes. That means they probably have a deadlock or something. We don't know. But it's a very interesting topic. I remember reading about, is it Alex Montaz? And I just shook my head and I looked at his picture up and down looking for signs of burnout, looking for signs. I don't know what I thought I could see in the picture, but he looked very happy. He looked like he was, so again, I think generally, what I'm concerned about though is probably the influence or the negative influence of adults, the school, teachers, counselors and so on. But if it is that it is a student who wishes to pursue those courses and they're able to within a holistic plan, they're able to balance that off. Because again, a valid point was raised. Are we letting children decide important issues that could affect their health? So not because a student say, okay, mommy, I want to do 27 subjects, but they have no plan, no timetable, no proper scheduling, that you should allow them to do that. But I think within a framework where they are able to find that balance, then if the student wants to do 99 subjects, and I really don't think that should be a problem. Right now, what is the minimum amount of subjects a person can do? In my time, it was 7, I think. No, minimum subjects you can do at high school in 4th and 5th form, or that you study at high school. And my time was way over 2 decades ago. The minimum subjects you did in 4th form was 7, I think. But now they have, yes? Because even in 1st form alone, they're doing 13 subjects already, which was not the case way back when. So I was just trying to figure out what is the minimum subjects that are being studied in the high school, though. About 9? 6? It can't be 6. In my time, it was 7. It's being studied, yes. 9, minimum. Okay, right, but it can be more. What school you went to? St. Martin Secondary, 9. Okay, well, that makes sense. All right, so we haven't seen the judges yet. I think the schools gave them a run for their money. And so they're probably taking some time. In that case, I will now call again the names of our sponsors. You want to say something? Okay, you'll do it? Okay. So Ms. Trudy Christian, the organizer of the debate, will come and speak about the sponsors a bit more.
Good afternoon again. I wanted to just preempt the judge's decision with a little information for you about this round. Going on currently at the UE Global Campus Auditorium is a debate between the Dominica Grammar School and the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, and the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School has just been announced as the winner of that debate across the road. Not across the road, higher up from us on the same street. So the ITSS will be moving to the semifinals on March 18th, and we await the judge's decision here this afternoon to see which of the 2 schools, the St. Mary's Academy or the Alpha Waldron SDA Academy, will also make it to the semifinals. However, there is something different about this round. For the semifinals, we have 2 debates. That means we need 4 schools. In this round 2, we have 3 debates, which means we'll have 3 winners. And so the highest scoring runner-up of round 2 will make it to the semifinals as well. So I'm announcing this to let you know that whoever is the runner-up this afternoon, this does not mean they do not make it to the semifinals. At the end of round 2, which will be tomorrow, the highest scoring runner-up will also be brought into the semifinals, so we can have 4 schools in the semifinals in March 18th, right? So we cannot go into the semifinals with 3 schools. You need an even number, right? So the highest scoring runner-up will get into the semi-final in March. And we have AWSA Waldron as the academy here, and they are testimony. They are testimony, what is my English? To the fact that the highest scoring runner-up can go on to win a championship, because last year, that's what happened to the AWSA Waldron as the academy in round 1. They were knocked out. I'm going to give you a little funny history. They were knocked out by the SMA in round 1, but they were the highest scoring runner-up, and they came back. They were invited for round 2, and they proceeded to win the overall championship at the end of the competition in April. So I'm just giving you this little background, this little, information, so you know what's happening in this round. We need 4 schools for the semifinals, so the highest scoring runner-up, once again, will move to the semifinals. So what's the update on the judges? 2 minutes, they say, or 1 minute? Okay, so let me just give you a little background now on the prizes that we have this afternoon, or the prizes for the competition. The winning school at the end of this competition, which will be in April. April 17th is the finals. March 18th is the semifinals. On April 17th, the winning school, the last school standing in the inter-secondary schools debating competition, will be awarded a trip to St. Lucia for 4. And this is the grand prize, but there have been countless other prizes throughout the competition. I want to highlight that Domlec is sponsoring 4 awards for the most memorable orators of the entire competition. So on the day of the finals, April 17th, we will find out across the 4 rounds of the competition who were the 4 students who were the most memorable in their oratory skills, and Domlec will be awarding them a cash prize as well as a trophy. So that's something to look forward to. Also this afternoon, the prizes are sponsored by KFC, Fine Foods Inc., and also by Freeman Consulting LLC. We have a prize for the best speaker this afternoon, sponsored by Lovely Things. We also have prizes for the judges to reward them for their hard work, sponsored by HHV with Church and the Company Limited. And we have Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, a major sponsor. We do have some drinks present here from this major sponsor of ours. Quenchy, this is the brand for the competition, the soft drink brand. And Twapito Water is the brand of water for the competition. Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited has come on board in a big way, also paying for all the transportation costs of all the schools who have to travel to town for the debates. Okay, so that just highlights some of my sponsors. I don't want them to feel that we did not appreciate them. And whilst I want to, give the hype before the judges come out, let me hear you give a round of applause for our sponsors so the judges can know. The judges can know we are hype out here, and we are ready, and we are waiting for results. We are definitely ready and waiting for results. So I'd like to thank all, of course, our partners, our sponsors, the students from the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School who have just won their debate should be coming across here to the Alliance Française shortly, because at the end of this debate, there will be a dip for the topic for the semifinals. So right here this afternoon, the schools move into the semis will find out what topic they will debate. And the topics for the semis are hot. They're hot. If I may say so myself. Okay? So they're hot. So I think I spoke for 2 minutes. All right, so the judges, we still await their emergence from their quarters. And I hope that they're coming very soon. I think I see students coming across from the other debate, and we'll welcome them, of course, when they come. So hopefully we can have some celebration in the room from the winners of the other debate and the winners of this debate as well. And of course, remember, the highest runner-up will make it to the semifinals as well. Yes, we do have students coming across. I do want to acknowledge as well our listeners who are holding steady here on DBS Radio and as well on Dominica News Online. Thank you so much for joining us virtually, and we do hope in the semifinals you will join us as well. So thank you to you, and thank you. I did not mention the Literary and Debating Society of the Dominica State College, who lends support to this endeavor, and we have the president of the Literary and Debating Society as the timekeeper here this afternoon, Alicia Bijou Desiree. So thank you to her for coordinating the students of the Dominica State College Literary and Debating Society. And I have one team member of the logistics committee of this competition here with me this afternoon. That's Ms. Tari Anselm, who also lends her support to the organization of the debate. So thank you to all who have assisted. I am a talker. I mean, if I need to, I can start giving jokes. But I think the anxiety in the room is high. I think the students really want to know. Oh, there's one thing I want to highlight. I did say I'm a talker. This afternoon, we had 3 boys competing in this debate. Yes, so I want to highlight the participation of the young men. We've had several debates in the previous round where all the debaters were female. You'd notice this afternoon all the judges are female. We tend to have very low male participation, but this afternoon from the St. Mary's Academy, we did have Mr. Noah Sorrendo and Mr. Jelani Shillingford representing their all-male school, so they had to, the boys had to be in the room. But of course from the Waldron SD Academy, we had Mr. Ruan Thomas. So I want to really highlight the participation of our boys. I think it's so important that the boys find their voice and are willing to do public speaking, because, we can get into gender debates, but we won't. But I really think it's important for the boys to take their place and also be present in these sort of debates. So I really want to congratulate them. And at the other debate, 2 young ladies from the ITSS won. So it's two girls who were representing the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School. Amelia Charles was the best speaker from the ITSS. So I was looking at them live. Okay, judges, if you can hear me. Yes, and we're being smoked out here in the room. So our judges need to come forward to give us those results. I don't want them to feel too comfortable if I start giving jokes, Miss Hunter, do you have the winners of the debate with you? They're coming? Okay. Okay, I got a thumbs up from Miss Anselm. So I will recall the moderator to the podium so that she can receive the results from the judges and call upon the chief judge to deliver the critique. And then, of course, we will get the results and the prize-giving aspect of this debate.
All right, welcome back to our judges. And I would now call on the Chief Judge, Marianne Emmanuel, to deliver the judge's remarks.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The judges would first like to commend both schools and commend the teachers and the parents and everyone who helped them prepare, because we found it to be a very good debate. We were not disappointed in either team. It was clear that both sides had well researched, their topics, and for that, we have to commend them. There was also great citing of sources. So apart from, gathering the information to put in the debate, they made it clear, to cite where they got that information from, and that in itself is proof that it was well researched and they got some reputable sources. We also want to commend or also caution debaters on balancing storytelling with, facts, giving facts. So, they were able to do that well, and, we also want to caution them to be careful about that, to be mindful of that in the future, that it's always helpful to have both storytelling and anecdotes, but also to present the facts as well. A good blend is always appreciated. We also noticed that sometimes there was too much of reading, or the appearance that probably, the material was being read too much. So in the future, or something to be mindful of, to probably just let the information flow a bit more, not, browse at your papers too much. That's always a good look. It shows that you're very comfortable with the material that you're presenting. We also noted that in both presentations, on both sides, there was really good use of rhetorical questions. So that keeps the audience engaged, the judges engaged. It gives the judges something to think about. So that was very good, and that's something that you definitely should continue in debating. Okay, we also want to say that in some cases, we were able to follow the points more than other cases. So it's very important in debates to make it clear what your points are, not just when it's time to actually speak on the points, but beforehand. So, you say, 1, you'll be talking about this, 2, that, and 3, that, because it allows us to be able to follow more and keep track of what was actually debated. Okay, the last thing that we will speak on is the rebuttal. Oftentimes, and there's nothing wrong with this, rebuttals are more like emotional, and it will appeal to the emotions of the audience, but it's also very good when a rebuttal uses logic, and you're able to probably cite something in that rebuttal, and not just make it a storytelling thing, which is also good. But we want you all to be mindful that including facts in the rebuttal, making it logical, is also something that's very appreciated. But when a debater is spontaneous in a rebuttal, it shows that they really are a master debater, that they can think on the ball and add something that we hadn't thought about before. So I will just end with this. This is all we had to say, but again, we are very proud of the debaters today. It was a very well-researched and good debate. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Emmanuel, for your delivery. Before I give the results, I know you all are anxious. I would just like to call the debaters back up on the main stage. Our first speaker from the St. Mary's Academy, the proposing team, Mr. Noah Sorrendo. Second speaker, Mr. Jelani Shillingford. And from the opposing team, the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, we have our first speaker, Ms. Malia Bertrand. And our second speaker, Mr. Ruan Thomas. Okay, so I'll just call out the grand total. So the total any school could have scored, the grand total was 780 points. And we have for the proposing team, that is the St. Mary's Academy, they have garnered a total of 689 points. Let's give them a round of applause. And for the opposing team, the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, they have gathered a total of 635 points. Thus, they are the runner-ups in today's debating competition, and our overall winner is the St. Mary's Academy's team. Let's give a big round of applause to both schools. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, the guys, they did very well. I'm sure, judges, you had a tough time, right? The competition was tight, I can tell. All right, so congratulations again to St. Mary's Academy as a winning team, but congratulations also to I keep saying Sir Arthur. To Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, you all put up a very, very good fight, and are they going to the... Okay, because we have to wait to see if they have the highest in terms of the runner-up points. All right, but congratulations again to both schools. You guys represented yourselves and your schools and your teams very, very well. We're extremely proud of you. I will now call on Trudy to... Oh, sorry. No wonder you're looking at me like that. I think everybody watching me like they're expecting something. The best speaker. I'm so sorry. All right, so the best speaker as adjudged by our esteemed judges is Mr. Noah Sorrento of the winning team, the St. Mary's Academy. Congratulations, Noah. All right, and now this takes us to our prize-giving aspect of the competition. Miss Christian.
Thank you. So we'd just like to call our best speaker, firstly, to receive his prize. As I mentioned earlier, this prize is sponsored by Lovely Things. He also gets a trophy for his Best Speaker Award. Congratulations, Mr. Noah Sorrento from the St. Mary's Academy. Okay. The runner-up awards to the Alpha Waldron SDA Academy students, Miss Malia Bertrand and Mr. Ruan Thomas. They receive gift certificates from Fine Foods Inc. KFC Division, and of course their trophies. And now we call on the winning team from the St. Mary's Academy to receive their prizes for winning this debate, Mr. Noah Sorrento and Mr. Jelani Shillingford. Receiving a prize here from Freeman Consulting Inc. and from Sweet Novelties. Congratulations to all our debaters. And we also would like to reward the coach of the school that is the runner-up. Although in this round we don't know if that school will be making it to the next round, but we'll reward the coach of the Alpha Waldron SD Academy. I know you have multiple people, but we'll hand over one coach's prize. So who's accepting? Okay, so Mrs. Barry will accept the coach's prize for the runner-up school. And of course, we're not sure if they will be in the semifinals yet, but for now, she's accepting this prize as the runner-up and the school that would normally have to exit the competition. And for the judges, we'd like to thank you for your support this afternoon and for your hard work. So I'd like to call on our three judges to accept a token of appreciation from us. Mrs. Antonia Yankee, Miss Mariage Emmanuel, and Mrs. Andrea Christian. Thank you so much for adjudicating this afternoon's debate. The judges' prizes come from Lindomat, also a major sponsor of this debate. And lastly, our moderator, Ms. Indira Seja, who for the first time was a moderator, multiple-time judge, but moderator for the first time and did an amazing job. Thank you, Ms. Seja. And I think all prizes have been awarded. We have the winners of the other debate in the room from the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School. So an added feature, I think, will be to call the winners of the other debate on stage right here and to allow the St. Mary's Academy and the ITSS to dip their topic on stage for the semifinals. So I'd like to call on the team from the ITSS to join the St. Mary's Academy on stage to dip for the topic for the semi-finals. And we can give the ITSS envelopes. Who wants to dip first? Okay, let's have the best speaker from the ITSS, Amelia Charles. Dip first for your topic for the semis. Let's have the best speaker from the St. Mary's Academy. Dip. All right, can you all please open and then read in the mic what topic it is that you'll be addressing in the semifinals on March 18th at the Fort Young Hotel. Let's play who can open the envelope fastest. Yes, guys. Go ahead.
It is the responsibility of the government to urgently implement strategies to mitigate the damaging impacts of brain drain in Dominica. Propose.
You all got the topic? You want him to say it again? You all got it? Yes? Okay. So, Ms. Charles?
Dominican youth have been given sufficient opportunities to positively impact the economy. Propose.
Okay. So from them reading the topic, we know they're not going against each other. So what that means is we need to wait for tomorrow's debate to see who will be going up against the St. Mary's Academy and who will be going up against the ITSS in the semifinals March 18th. So I invite all of you to follow and see what will happen. Tomorrow's debate is between the Convent High School and the Orion Academy on the topic, the hypersexualization. Carnival celebrations have become hypersexualized and no longer embrace local culture and tradition. So that's the topic for tomorrow's debate. The winner will dip for the semis, and ITSS and SMA will find out who they'll be going up against, and the highest runner-up will then be invited to join the crew in the semifinals. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, for your attention, and we hope to see you in the semis. The Calypsonians would say see you in the finals. I'll say see you guys at the semis. Have a good afternoon. Yes. Oh, and please have a beverage from our sponsors. I forgot to say that. They're laid out here on the table. So before you leave, please take a drink from our sponsor, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited.